Manchester City play against Chelsea tomorrow, as I'm recording this. Of course, in another pre-season game. It's the second to last game in pre-season, with of course the last game being the Community Shield against Manchester United. So, ignore the goalkeepers for this. As always, if you're around my channel. Ederson and Ortega are both gonna get a 1/2, like they have done all pre-season. So ignore the goalkeepers for this. They both get 1/2. So let's talk about the actual game. So Lewis, Bob, Haaland, Kovacic, Gvardiol and Grealish from our senior team will be playing. So Lewis is going to be in that right back position again, I imagine. He has played as a bit more midfield role earlier in preseason, but I think he's going to stay now in that right back position. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about Lewis in right back. I think he's probably better than Kyle Walker, but that's not a very high bar to set. And I'm talking about current Walker, not prime Walker. Don't misconstrue what I say. But Walker, as he has right now, not good enough anymore. So I guess Rico Lewis is just who Pep is looking at to replace Kyle Walker. And now, Bart Simpson over here, I'll get to him in a bit. He's not that interesting, neither is Asbrunt. But the interesting two players are Brown and McAtee, who I expect to start. So Kovacic is back, and you can see all these players here. These are players who are not at the team right now for the preseason games. So they won't play. Kovacic is back, he'll play. Gvardiol, he will play. Of course, these three have all been good so far in preseason, so of course they will play. And then, the interesting two, Brown and McAtee. Now, of course, I did not watch the Barcelona game. It was way too late. I was not going to stay up for that. So I did not watch the Barca game, but I did watch the highlights and stuff. And on City Plus, you can see extended highlights and stuff. But yeah, I watched that, and my position on Brown, for those who might be around the channel, has not changed at all. I really don't get it, but I trust Pep on defensive midfielders. It's that simple. I really don't get Brown. I can see the ability he has, but I just don't think it's on a high enough level to come into Manchester City's starting 11. Or, well, not starting 11, he's already covered, but to come into Manchester City's squad and maybe play the games against, a Bournemouth, because that's what we are looking at here. We're looking at a player to play 90 minutes against Bournemouth, against Wolves. Well, Wolves was actually quite strong last season, but against Brentford, against the lower end teams, like the Fulhams and Crystal Palaces, that kind of stuff. So that Rodri can rest during those games. I don't know if Brown can do that, Maybe with Kovacic next to him, right? Maybe if you have Kovacic next to him, and you have a double pivot, and then you put all out attack, let's say De Bruyne, Foden, Haaland, Savio, and then it can probably work, but I think he's just not experienced enough. Maybe that will be different in the actual season, we will see then. And McAtee, my opinion has also not changed on him. He's just not good enough. He's simply not good enough. And I know I say this quite a lot, but he's not that good. City fans like to overhype him. But he will of course play. And the reason why he will play is because we are trying to sell him. I'm wholly convinced that we are trying to sell him. Same with Bart Simpson over here and Asbrunt. They are only playing because we are trying to sell them. I don't think that any of these three players have a future at Manchester City. What I'm expecting from the game itself is very difficult. Chelsea is gonna play one of their 20 million lineups of kids. Oh my days. Can somebody tell Todd Bowley to just sign a 24-year-old? I don't think he has made a single signing that is younger, or older I mean, than 23. This guy needs to be checked. Check if he's on Epstein's list, yeah? Because, my guy, not every professional footballer is 19 years old. There's 25-year-olds out there, so I have no idea what lineup for Chelsea will be. Will Cole Palmer play? I imagine so. That's about all I can predict for you for Chelsea. So let's say with Manchester City. Now, I want to talk a bit about Haaland, something I have observed in pre-season. And I won't get into too much detail because when pre-season is over, I will do an entire pre-season stream or video, depends on how I want to do it. But yeah, I'll do an entire thing on Haaland. So just to keep it short here, he has dropped deep quite a lot in pre-season. And he has done it to good effect, I believe. I think he's dropped deep quite a lot, which every time he dropped deep, it opened up space in behind the lines, yeah? Imagine that these are the defenders. It opened up space whenever Haaland dropped deep. And what happened is, Bob would go into that space, Grealish or McAtee. Not all three at once, of course, but one or the other would always go into that pocket of space. And Haaland himself, on the ball, has been good in pre-season. Now you can't say, oh, it's just pre-season. He's playing against weaker teams, blah blah blah. That is true. But why would Pep allow Haaland to play like that in pre-season if he wasn't planning on Haaland playing like that next season? Now, of course, remind you, I did not see the Barcelona game, only the highlights, so I don't know how Haaland played in that Barca game. But I will be looking out for that in this Chelsea game. I will see how will he fare against Chelsea, how will he play against Chelsea. Will he drop deep again? And if he does, I think we can expect Haaland to play a lot deeper next season. I still expect him to be in the box and score the goals, of course, which he has done in pre-season as well. But I expect him to also drop deep if he can't get the ball forwards and just create another avenue of his play. Just develop in another way. I suppose you could compare it to R9, obviously nowhere near his level. R9, yeah, completely irrelevant to the subject, yeah, but R9 was more talented than Lionel Messi, but injuries fucked up his career. It's true. You can't argue with me about that. But yeah, it's very reminiscent of how R9 played. Now, mind you, I only saw the end of R9's career. I did watch the entire 2002 World Cup Brazil run on YouTube, which, by the way, FIFA has uploaded all the games, like FIFA, the organization that runs the World Cup, on YouTube free. You can go watch them. The entire 2002 World Cup run from R9. To anyone who hasn't seen R9 yet, go watch that because it will give you a newfound respect for what a true striker is. And it's why whenever I see a striker nowadays, I'm like, you're not that good. Which goes for both Mbappe and Haaland, by the way. That was completely irrelevant to the subject. What he does is very reminiscent to what R9 did. He stays in the box most of the time, but if he's getting doubled up by defenders, he's like, screw this, I'm going to drop deep, and if those defenders follow me, you're gonna leave space, and my teammates are gonna exploit that. And if you don't follow me, I'm gonna have the ball, and I'm gonna have an opportunity to shoot from distance, to pass it around, to get into better positions. That is the one thing I wanted to see from Haaland against Real Madrid last season. He didn't do it, and we lost on penalties. If he can play like that against Real Madrid to an effective way, to an effective degree next season, then I think we beat Real Madrid, honestly. Because he will be so much more effective then. But that is for the future, and that is what I will be looking out for here in this last preseason game against, second to last preseason game against Chelsea. Now, of course, I do call the Community Shield a preseason game. For those who wonder why, the Community Shield is actually a charity game. It's not like an official competitive game where the winners get prize money. No, it's a charity game. It used to be called the Charity Shield, but the FA actually takes too much money for themselves for it to be allowed to call a charity in England. Go look that up. It's very fucked up. But yeah, it's not a real game in my opinion because not played with the professional rules of the sport. If you didn't know that, you're allowed to way more substitutions than you're actually supposed to in a real game. The referees are allowed to give random breaks if need to be like, they already can do that, but it's like a bit different. Got rid of the rules of Community Shield, I suppose. It's not really a real game. For those who are wondering why I say that's a preseason game, because it is. When you don't play the real rules of the sport, it's all a real game. Like the Belgian Super Cup, that's a professional game, and professional rules. That's a real game. Community Shield? Nah. That's a bit irrelevant to the subject here. Thank you for watching to the end. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Helps out the channel a ton. I've grown so much here. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to me. Of course, as you saw in my video about my exams, if you did watch that, I will be a bit less active now as I'm studying for my exams. I haven't studied yet today. I did study a bit yesterday. I'm going to study probably in 3 or 4 hours. I don't think you cared about that. I don't know why I'm talking about that. Thank you for watching to the end. Tell me down below what you think in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next one.